A powerful cosmic shift is on the horizon, one that will reshape the way you think, speak, and experience the world around you. On May 10th, Mercury, the planet that rules your mind, communication, and mental clarity, enters the grounded sign of Taurus. And when this transition occurs, it won't be subtle. It marks a deep recalibration of your mental energy, moving away from the fast, impulsive pace of Aries into a slower, steadier rhythm. Most people won't see it coming. They'll sense the change but won't understand why their thoughts suddenly feel heavier, more deliberate. Why choices that once felt instinctive now demand more reflection. And if you've been noticing unusual shifts in your body, like increased sensitivity to sounds, textures, or even tastes, stay tuned. There's a deeper reason behind it, and I'll reveal exactly what it means later in this video. But first, you need to understand what's really happening on May 10th at 8:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Because this transit of Mercury into Taurus isn't happening in isolation. It's occurring during an astrological perfect storm that's about to rearrange your inner landscape completely. The universe is setting the stage for something bigger than most people realize. Mercury, the cosmic messenger, doesn't just influence how you communicate with others. It shapes how you communicate with yourself, how you process information, how you make sense of reality itself. And when it moves from fiery Aries into earthy Taurus, your entire mental framework will shift, whether you're ready or not. This isn't random. This is deliberate cosmic choreography, and you're standing center stage, about to experience a transformation that most won't even notice until it's already changed them completely. Your mind will suddenly downshift gears. Have you noticed how your mind races lately? Thoughts jumping from one idea to the next. Mental energy crackling like electricity. That's Mercury in Aries energy. Fast, impulsive, constantly moving. But on May 10th, everything changes. When Mercury enters Taurus, your mind doesn't just slow down, it completely transforms how it operates. Imagine driving a sports car at full speed, then suddenly shifting into a much lower gear. That initial feeling, it might be jarring. Your thoughts, which have been moving at lightning speed, will suddenly feel like they're moving through honey, deliberately, methodically, with unexpected weight. At first, this mental downshift might feel restrictive. You might find yourself feeling frustrated that your usual quick-fire thinking isn't working the same way. Ideas that used to flow effortlessly now require more time to develop. Decisions that came easily now demand deeper consideration. This isn't your imagination. This is Mercury in Taurus restructuring your entire thought process. But here's the thing most people miss. This slowdown isn't a limitation. It's an upgrade. Your thoughts are no longer skimming across the surface, but diving deeper, becoming more substantial, more grounded in reality. What you lose in speed, you gain in solidity. Words carry more weight. Ideas have more substance. You're no longer thinking in possibilities. You're thinking in foundations. Your mind is literally being rewired to value quality over quantity, depth over speed, substance over flash. And while this transition might feel uncomfortable at first, once you surrender to this new rhythm, you'll discover a mental clarity that wasn't possible before. Your senses will heighten beyond normal. Remember when I mentioned that if you've been experiencing strange sensory sensitivity, there was a reason? This is it. When Mercury enters Taurus, something profound happens to your sensory perception. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of pleasure, and it governs the physical, tangible world. When Mercury, the planet of perception, moves into this sensual territory, your five senses don't just function, they awaken. Colors might seem more vibrant, sounds more distinct. The texture of fabric against your skin, the subtle flavors in your food, even scents you normally wouldn't notice. All of these experiences become magnified. It's as if someone turned up the volume on your sensory input, making everything feel more intense, more present, more real. This isn't just your imagination. Your body is literally becoming more attuned to the physical world around you. That coffee you drink every morning, suddenly you're tasting notes you never noticed before. That song you've heard 100 times, you're picking up on instruments you never realized were there. Even the simplest sensations, the weight of a book in your hands, the feeling of sunlight on your face, take on a new significance. For some, this heightened sensitivity can be overwhelming at first. You might find yourself feeling overloaded in environments with too much stimulation, crowded places, loud conversations, bright lights. Your nervous system is being recalibrated to a new frequency, one that's more attuned to quality over quantity, depth over intensity. But this sensory awakening isn't random, it's purposeful. It's pulling you out of abstract thinking and into embodied awareness, out of your head and into your body. The world is no longer just something you think about. It's something you experience with your entire being. And in this experience lies a profound wisdom that most people completely overlook. Past thoughts will resurface for review. When Mercury enters Taurus, it doesn't just change how you think going forward. It forces you to re-examine everything you thought you knew. Your mind becomes like a sieve, filtering through old ideas, beliefs and assumptions, testing their solidity against this new grounded energy. Suddenly, thoughts you haven't considered in months or even years bubble back to the surface. That idea you abandoned, it's back, asking for reconsideration. That conclusion you reached without full information, it's up for review. That belief you've held without questioning, it's time to test its foundations. This isn't just random nostalgia or overthinking. This is Mercury in Taurus initiating a profound mental purge, clearing out what's unstable, ungrounded, or no longer serving you. It's like your mind is Marie Kondoing itself, holding up each thought and asking, does this bring clarity? Is this built on solid ground? Is this worth keeping? For some, this process feels liberating, finally letting go of mental patterns that never really worked. For others, it feels unsettling, realizing that ideas you've built your identity around might be less substantial than you thought. Either way, this isn't something you can ignore. The thoughts that resurface aren't random. They're exactly the ones you need to re-examine, exactly the mental constructs that need rebuilding on firmer ground. And while this process might feel uncomfortable, it's creating space for something far more valuable, a mind built on truth rather than wishful thinking. This mental purge isn't just about clearing out old thoughts. It's about making room for new foundations, new certainties, new mental structures that will support you through whatever comes next. Because when Mercury enters Taurus, nothing flimsy survives. Your communication style will become more deliberate. Words will no longer roll off your tongue without thought. Each syllable, each phrase, each message will carry a new weight, a new intentionality that wasn't there before. Mercury in Taurus transforms not just what you say, but how you say it. Suddenly you'll find yourself speaking more slowly, choosing your words with greater care, ensuring that what leaves your mouth is worth saying. Small talk feels increasingly pointless. Empty promises feel increasingly uncomfortable. Your communication becomes less about filling space and more about conveying substance. You might notice people responding to you differently. Where before they might have nodded along to your rapid-fire ideas, now they lean in, paying closer attention. Your words carry more authority, more presence, more impact, not because you're trying to be impressive, but because your communication now comes from a place of substance rather than speed. In text messages, emails, even casual conversations, you'll find yourself revising before sending, refining before speaking, not out of anxiety, but out of a newfound respect for the power of words. You're no longer satisfied with being understood approximately. You want to be understood exactly. But here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about how you speak to others. It's about how you speak to yourself. That inner voice, the one that narrates your life, it's changing too, becoming more supportive, more practical, more grounded in what's real rather than what's feared. The harsh critic that once dominated your thoughts begins to sound more like a wise mentor, still honest, but constructively so. This shift in communication isn't superficial, it's fundamental. It's not about speaking less, it's about saying more with fewer words. It's not about being perfect, it's about being authentic. In a world drowning in noise, Mercury in Taurus gives your voice something increasingly rare: substance. Financial insights will crystallize unexpectedly. When Mercury enters Taurus, something shifts in your relationship with the material world. Taurus governs not just stability and sensuality, but material resources, particularly your finances. And as Mercury moves through this territory, your perception of money transforms. Suddenly, financial patterns you've overlooked become glaringly obvious. That subscription you've been paying for months but never use, you'll notice it. That habit of impulse spending when you're emotionally drained, you'll see it clearly. That opportunity to consolidate or invest that you've been putting off, it steps into sharp focus. This isn't about becoming materialistic, it's about becoming realistic. Mercury in Taurus cuts through financial fog, replacing vague anxieties about money with clear, practical insights. Instead of worrying about your finances in abstract terms, you start seeing specific, actionable steps. For some, this crystallization comes as a relief, finally understanding what needs to be done instead of just feeling generally anxious about money. For others, it's a wake-up call, facing the reality that certain financial habits simply aren't sustainable. Either way, the veil is lifted. What makes this transit particularly powerful is the practical nature of the insights. These aren't just theoretical ideas about what might work someday. These are grounded, implementable strategies that connect directly to your current reality. Your mind becomes naturally oriented toward building lasting financial security rather than chasing quick gains. Even if you've never considered yourself good with money, this transit activates the part of your brain that instinctively understands value, worth, and long-term security. The question shifts from "how can I get more?" to "how can I build something that lasts?" And in that shift lies a wisdom that could transform your material reality completely. Your social circles will naturally realign. When Mercury enters Taurus, it doesn't just change how you think and communicate. It changes who you want to think and communicate with. Your social preferences undergo a subtle but profound shift as your energy naturally gravitates toward depth over breadth, quality over quantity. People who once seemed fascinating because of their chaotic energy or constant novelty might suddenly feel exhausting. Conversations that go nowhere, relationships that exist on the surface, connections built purely on convenience rather than shared values. All of these begin to feel increasingly hollow. Instead, you find yourself drawn toward authenticity, toward people who mean what they say and say what they mean, toward conversations that might move more slowly but go much deeper. You're no longer interested in collecting acquaintances. You want real connection, even if that means your circle becomes smaller. This isn't about becoming antisocial. It's about becoming selectively social. Your time and energy feel more precious, more deserving of intentional allocation. Small talk feels increasingly burdensome, while meaningful exchange feels increasingly nourishing. You might find yourself unexpectedly reconnecting with old friends who always offered substance over style, or discovering new appreciation for the quieter, more steady people in your life who never demanded attention but always offered genuine presence. This realignment isn't random. It's your social world reorganizing itself around what truly matters rather than what merely entertains. And as your connections become fewer but deeper, something shifts inside you too. a growing sense that you're not just surrounded by people, but truly seen by them. Stubborn energy will create both strength and challenge. Here's the shadow side of Mercury and Taurus that most people won't tell you about: stubbornness. As your thinking becomes more grounded, it also becomes more fixed. Ideas take root more deeply, opinions become more firmly held. Your mind, which may have been flexible and adaptable in Aries, now plants its feet and stands its ground. This mental stubbornness is both a strength and a challenge. On one hand, you become less easily swayed by passing trends, less vulnerable to manipulation, more consistent in your values and principles. Your thinking develops a solidity that allows you to remain centered even when everyone around you is being pulled in different directions. On the other hand, this same quality can make it difficult to consider new perspectives or adjust your thinking when necessary. You might find yourself digging in your heels even when evidence suggests you should reconsider. Ideas that once flowed like water now feel carved in stone, not easily erased or rewritten. This isn't just about how you interact with others, it's about how you interact with yourself. That commitment to finish what you start? Amazing for productivity. That reluctance to abandon a plan even when it's clearly not working? Potentially problematic. That consistent follow-through on promises? Admirable. That refusal to adapt when circumstances change? Limiting. The key to navigating this energy isn't fighting against the stubbornness, it's channeling it wisely. Use that mental persistence for what truly matters: your core values, your most important projects, your deepest truths. Save your flexibility for the things that are less essential, the details, the methods, the exact timeline. Because when Mercury enters Taurus, your thinking doesn't just become more stubborn, it becomes more powerful. And like any power, its impact depends entirely on how you wield it. Mercury in Taurus is coming, whether you're ready or not. The cosmic messenger is about to step from fire into earth, from speed into substance, from possibility into reality. Your mind will downshift. Your senses will awaken, your thoughts will deepen, your words will carry weight, your perception of resources will clarify, your social world will realign, your mental persistence will intensify. This isn't just another transit, it's a fundamental recalibration of how you experience reality itself. Those who resist this energy will feel increasingly frustrated, stuck in patterns that no longer serve them. Those who embrace it will discover a new kind of power. The power of slowing down, digging deeper, building something that lasts. The choice isn't whether to experience this shift. It's already in motion. The choice is how consciously you'll navigate it. Whether you'll fight against the current or let it carry you into a more grounded, more embodied way of being. Whether you'll cling to mental patterns that may be familiar but unstable or allow new foundations to form beneath your thoughts. Because when Mercury enters Taurus on May 10th, it doesn't just change how you think for a few weeks. It plants seeds that will grow into forests. The thoughts you nurture during this time, the perceptions you trust, the communications you prioritize, these aren't temporary shifts. They're the beginning of a new relationship with reality itself. If you're still here, thank you for watching. I truly appreciate your time. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your support means a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences, so feel free to drop a comment below. Until next time, take care and stay tuned for more meaningful content.